Dread it, run from it. Zack Snyder's Justice League arrives all the same.
Chug, 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 chug. Oh.
Can't.
Hello, people of Earth. We are here for another review, and this time we've watched the 4-hour supercut of Zack Snyder's fanfic of the Justice League.
I finished it like 8 hours ago. So I got this Monster energy drink, and yeah, it's a long night.
Non-sponsored, not sponsored.
Non-sponsored. Well, we are sponsored by Vero.
No, we're not either. But if you don't know, if you never watched the 2017 original release, which was Zack Snyder's Baby, but then the baby got edited by Joss Whedon, and it became a different baby. And now this is Zack Snyder's new old baby. And basically what it is the Justice League trying to come together to beat Darkseid's assistant to the regional manager, Steppenwolf. And that's the plot. And he's trying to get the mother boxes, which, a weird name for a thing.
Especially with how they say it so seriously. The mother bastard, you took the mother box.
But do you not remember in the first, the original, or the change, whatever, the Joss Whedon one, that like Steppenwolf is weirdly either attracted or connected to, he calls them mothers. He has like a weird Oedipus thing with them.
But anyways, Zack Snyder's fans were like, hey, release the butthole cut.
And they cyberbullied this movie into existence.
They bullied,
and we didn't need it.
Here's a trailer for Tom and Jerry, and they're like, release the Snyder cut. And you're like, this is a children's movie, please. Like, just back up. Now I'm afraid that we live in a world where now if we bully someone enough, we're going to get what we want. And that's, that's not okay.
You hated the movie, or you hated the cyberbullying?
All of it.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, we'll talk about that later, but it's like, I just feel like every time, like, it's just like, it's the same thing with like Star Wars is, every time that like someone posts something even sweet about Star Wars, someone is there to be like, well, The Last Jedi sucks, you know? And I'm like, I'm tired and I don't care. I'm broken. This movie has broken me. And I think it broke me long ago when I just had to read so much about it. But then actually seeing it, it just really just sent me over the edge.
The discourse surrounding this movie, you can either hate it or love it. You can't be in the middle. But truth be told, this movie is just another movie. It's not anything different we've seen from Zack Snyder. We've seen it in every single movie. We know he does slow motion, weird music scenes. That's his thing. In Watchmen, he had a slow motion sex scene that was the weirdest thing I've seen in a movie. And I've seen Sucker Punch.
Comic books are supposed to be fun, aren't they? I'm not a comic book fan, and this is like the most boring comic book movie I've ever seen.
Comics can be serious, and they can be intense, and they can say something. But what I don't understand about this movie is this is just the same movie, just longer, and with some other things put in. And I think my biggest complaint isn't even with the movie. It's with Zack Snyder teasing so much. Martian Man. Sorry, spoiler. I don't care anymore, actually. Martian Manhunter. Hey, guys. The nightmare sequence is in this. Ooh, the Joker's in this. And then we get there and I'm like, oh, that's it? If I was a diehard, if I was like waiting for years for this movie, I would be so mad that I just watched 4 hours of the same movie. The same things happen. It starts the same. The middle's the same. I kept thinking maybe there's a part where it turns and there is like something different, but no. And I think that's the worst part is that I had to sit through the 2017 one, and then I just sat through the same thing but longer. There are some bright spots. I think they did Cyborg dirty. I think we can all agree on that. That Ray Fisher has so much more to do in this part, and it's
He's almost
great.
The main character.
And it makes me also miss Ben Affleck is back. I think this is a way better Ben Affleck performance. And so, yeah, I guess I don't hate the movie. I just hate what it stands for.
I will say I hated this movie because it is 4 hours long. And it's just people brooding for four. Like whenever the Flash made a joke, it felt weird. Like, oh my god, like there's.
I think that's
have
Ezra
humor?
Miller. I've never been a fan of Ezra Miller Flash. And
No, I'm not. I'm
I
saying
never
it was
will be.
welcome, but it felt weird because there was so much like seriousness and like broodingness and death, and all of a sudden you made a joke about a hot dog. I'm like, whoa, a movie can be fun.
It held my attention for sure. Whereas the first one, I just hated every single second of it because one, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand what was happening. Like I know the story of Darkseid and Steppenwolf because I read comics as a kid, but I try to go into comic book movies as if I know nothing. And so with this, I understood Steppenwolf's motive.
Yes, it was better. It was better in this movie. Again, there are things that a 4-hour cut warrants.
Ray Fisher as Cyborg is like, I understand why he was mad at the original cut because he got edited out entirely out of the movie, basically. And this one, he's integral to the plot. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is always great as Wonder Woman. Like the cast is great.
See, like I don't know who this movie is for because like I know you guys know everything about comic books and all that. Like I kind of like them, and a 4-hour movie about this, I just don't understand who it's meant for other than hardcore fans or like people like me where I'm like, I like
that's
Batman.
Who it's for. That's who it's for. This movie still suffers from the fact that we don't know much about these characters besides at this point 3 of them, if you can even say Batman counts, because he didn't even have his own movie yet. And yeah, you kind of get that in that 4-hour movie, but I just felt like I kept forgetting that people's stories. That's the issue. It's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, yeah, we're back to Lois Lane. Where has she been for 40? Like you can say that in a movie. I haven't seen Lois Lane in 45 minutes. And then she just shows up and you're like, oh yeah, she's got this story too. She has an arc as well. And I just feel like if you let everyone have an arc, everyone suffers. It's like there's a reason why Hawkeye doesn't get much play in the first Avengers movie because he doesn't need it yet. Do it later.
There is no emotional connection to the characters. And I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. I know fanboys are going to be okay with that because they've already rewritten the emotional connection in their head. So I am a Marvel fanboy, but I do like Batman and I do like Superman. And I think Zack Snyder's Superman is probably, Henry Cavill as Superman is probably the best version of Superman that we've seen in like any media other than the cartoons.
I wish they would have done more with like Batman is clearly on this redemption of faith kind of feel, and you have Superman as this God character, this like Jesus character. And that was a really like, I was like, let's get into that. And then also Cyborg's whole dad thing too. That would have been great. But yeah, you're right. It's just, yeah, I don't even know. I'm just ready to never talk about this movie again, but I know it's going to come up every day for the rest of our lives.
I know you want to finish talking about it, but we have to go in detail a little bit more about the ending of the movie because not only is the climax of the movie bonkers, but also the nightmare dream sequence is the most useless epilogue in any comic book movie ever. We get this nightmare sequence where Darkseid finally shows up because he has to travel the old way through space.
Hey, time out. Even before this one, there's like a different setup of villains. And then right after it, like smash cut.
Yep.
It's this nightmare scene.
We find out that Darkseid has finally come to planet Earth to reclaim the anti-life equation. Dumb name.
So stupid. It's so dumb.
But he's got it, and he's turned Superman evil. And the reason Superman became evil is because Batman let Lois Lane die. They don't really explain how because it's setting up a sequel that's never coming. And then you have the reveal as Jared Leto as Joker. And, comparing this Joker to the other Jared Leto Joker, this one's actually good.
I mean,
it's so weird. Like he did unreal. Great when he already did it.
The problem is I don't have a problem with what's happening in the nightmare sequence. I have a problem that it exists and we know there's not going to be a sequel to this movie.
It's clear like some of the Justice League is dead because you kind of see a flashback or you kind of see like a flash forward of that way like 2 hours before that. And So you have like Batman, you have Cyborg, you have the Flash, who I guess you see in Batman v Superman, and then you have Amber Heard as Mira, and then Deathstroke, and then they're like this new weird Justice League, and then the Joker shows up, and you're like, man, I could really get down with this. Except for, I mean, it is the plot to Injustice. It sounds like. I'm like, yeah, I can get into this, and I was hoping the movie was gonna just like smash cut like to black after Superman shows up. No, this dude has the gall to be like, it was all a dream.
And then Martian Manhunter shows up again and is just like, I'm here, I guess, so I can do cool stuff too.
And by the way, call me Martian Manhunter, but it doesn't matter because it's never going to get made. Like,
until those fans didn't bully someone to get it made.
It's true. Maybe we will get this sequel made out of nowhere.
No.
I'd rather Zack Snyder make zombie movies the rest of his life because that's probably the only Zack Snyder movie I've been like, this is good. I don't know. It's just so hard to say anything because Zack Snyder is great at cinematography and like painting a beautiful visual picture, but overall he just can't execute at the end. It
was nice to see Ben Affleck like really killing it a little bit, but I just do not see him coming back to this universe. He's done it. I feel like he's been broken by this movie, just like me. He and I have that in common.
JD, I know there's something else that you and Ben Affleck have in common, and it's on your back. Please tell us that you have a huge dragon tattoo. Yes, show us the dragon tattoo.
But actually, where the head is, it's actually just Ben Affleck's face.
All right, if you guys had to rate this out of 10, and the rating system this time would be how many coffee cups you would put on Superman's grave, out of 10 would you give this?
Out of 10 slow motion coffees, this is a 4. I was so bored with this movie. I just don't want a 4-hour movie. If it was like, I just have a problem with Zack Snyder's, like anything that isn't action. It's just so boring and ridiculously serious. And I like fun things in comic book movies. This isn't for me, so it's a 4.
I was teeter-tottering this morning. I was thinking I was going to go 5, but you know what? The more I think, I enjoy Ray Fisher. I enjoy Ben Affleck. I enjoy some of the scenes and some of the things we got. And again, it's better than what we got.
It is.
But that's not saying too much. So I'm going to go a 6 out of 10 slow motion coffee cups.
So we have a 4, we have a 6, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, which is 50%, because 50% of this movie is good and 50% of this movie is bad. But it's like coffee, sometimes you need sugar, and this one doesn't really have that much sugar in it.
I think it's the opposite. I think it has too much sugar in it and not enough like actual coffee. Did you just give the 5 just so you could make it look like I love this movie?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Basically, yeah.
I spent the last 20 minutes railing on this movie, and then you're like, you know what, JD, I think you liked it the most, and how dare you? And listen, if you guys love this movie, that's great. I love you guys, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you got what you wanted. But if you bully me on Twitter, I will come after you, and I will say things like, I support you. I want the best. Good luck with the Ayer cut. But, I'm more like hashtag release the butthole cut. That's what I'd rather see now.
How are we going to end this? How does this thing end anymore? Who are we after watching Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Better people? Worse people? I don't know.
I think we're the same.
Well, as a fellow Zack, because he has half of my name, so this is half of my movie, I apologize. Un esercito di prodi